In a seismic shift of global economic dynamics, Western companies are rapidly withdrawing their investments from China, leaving behind a trail of closed factories, deserted industrial zones, and millions of unemployed workers. The exodus, fueled by a complex interplay of factors ranging from rising labor costs to concerns over regulatory unpredictability, has triggered a profound recalibration of trust and strategic economic interests. Bridgestone has withdrawn from China and its Shenyang factory has closed. Another 1,200 people are unemployed, as the factory permanently closed on February 29, 2024. These workers have lost their jobs. Now, they have nothing. On February 29, 2024, the world-renowned tire company Bridgestone closed its last factory in China, located in Shenyang. Another foreign tire company has departed from China, citing the downturn in the commercial tire market as the reason for the withdrawal. The fate of the 1,200 employees at the Shenyang factory is now uncertain. The departure of Bridgestone, with its excellent welfare benefits and security, marks a transition from prosperity to decline in the era of foreign companies in China. The impact on the entire tire industry is significant, signaling the end of an era that leaves a rather unpleasant taste. It is not surprising that the global economic landscape has been undergoing a significant transformation, marked by a gradual but noticeable shift of Western capital away from China. The burgeoning narrative isn't merely about diversification, it's underscored by a recalibration of trust and strategic economic interests towards economies like India, Vietnam, the United States, and countries within the European Free Trade Association, EFTA. Dell, the world's third-largest computer manufacturer, will stop using chips made in China in 2024 and will produce them in factories outside China. It will move 50% of its production capacity out of China in 2025. Once the largest footwear factory in Fujian, a subcontractor for major brands like Adidas and Nike, now lies in desolation as these companies move some of their production out of China. Dongguan Mincuan Electronics, a foreign-funded large factory with thousands of employees, has relocated. Originally named Utexin Factory, it was established in 1997 in the Xianan community of Chang'an Town, Dongguan. It was under the ownership of Taiwan's MediaTek Incorporated and went public on the Taiwan Stock Exchange in 2004. During its heyday in Chang'an Town, Dongguan Mincuan Electronics employed thousands of workers. However, the factory has now moved to Vietnam, and from the perspective of a drone, the once bustling factory appears deserted and desolate, leaving thousands of unemployed workers. The situation is getting worse. Many international companies, including major players like Foxconn and Samsung, are gradually closing down certain subsidiaries or branches. One Japanese company recently shut down its branch in Suzhou, raising questions about the reasons behind such moves. Speculations include high labor costs or expensive rent. Despite offering competitive benefits, these foreign enterprises are still opting to relocate. The reasons are complex, and industry insiders may possess more insights. For now, more Chinese are unemployed. China's journey from a closed, impoverished country to a global manufacturing powerhouse has been nothing short of remarkable. However, the sheen of the Chinese economic miracle has begun to disappear, particularly in the eyes of Western investors. Japanese zipper maker YKK Corporation started operating its second plant in Vietnam this week to meet growing global demand. Adding to the company's existing plant in the southern province of Dong Nai, the new 51,000 square meter site will shorten delivery time to garment makers in northern Vietnam and respond to the increasing trend of garment production being shifted from China to Vietnam, YKK said. Key factors driving this reassessment include concerns over China's regulatory unpredictability, the political risks of an authoritarian regime, the aggressive stance in its foreign policy, and allegations of intellectual property, IP, theft and forced technology transfers as highlighted by policies such as Made in China 2025. In the past 24 years, the number of unemployed people in Wuhan has reached more than 40,000. 33 Toshiba factories in Japan urgently evacuated China, leaving 400,000 people unemployed. 600,000 people in Shanghai, Shenzhen and Dongguan could not find jobs. Apple processing company Dongguan Hardware could not receive orders. 3 factories closed down and 120,000 people faced unemployment. 4.6 million factories people are wailing for lack of orders. The biggest wave of unemployment in Chinese history is coming. The former Chinese Samsung company has relocated to Bac Ninh province, Vietnam, prompting numerous Chinese companies to follow suit in shifting their manufacturing bases. This transition has resulted in a substantial loss of employment opportunities for many individuals. The Vietnamese branch of Samsung contributes 20% to Vietnam's GDP and has created tens of thousands of job opportunities in the country. Foxconn has invested in 8 new factories in Vietnam this year. After Foxconn is investigated in mainland China, it has decided to speed up the transfer of production capacity overseas since doing business in China creates so much unnecessary tension. Made in China 2025, a blueprint launched by the Chinese government, has been particularly contentious. Aimed at transforming China into a dominant force in global high-tech manufacturing, it explicitly calls for government subsidies, mobilization of state-owned enterprises, and vigorous efforts in IP acquisition to not just catch up with but surpass Western technological supremacy. While ambitiously charting China's course towards technological independence, this policy has raised alarm bells in the West. It's already March, and there are still many people who haven't found jobs. Yesterday, I secretly went to a job fair without informing our company and spent a considerable amount of time exploring various positions. Most of the jobs available were either in sales or customer service, with monthly salaries ranging mostly around $3,000, and some even as low as $2,000. If one aimed for a higher salary, the options were limited to sales roles. The job fair was packed with people, revealing the vast number of individuals seeking employment. Many of them were recent graduates from 2023, and even individuals in their 40s and 50s were actively job hunting. The job market is becoming increasingly challenging each year, and I can sense that 2024 poses even greater difficulties, especially for those without work experience. Do you know how many people have become unemployed in Changsha this year? I work in loans in Changsha, and out of 5 friends I know, 2 are currently unemployed. I've observed that the employment situation in Changsha is really challenging. People can be working in the morning and receive news of their team being disbanded in the afternoon, all due to poor economic performance as well as many companies starting to move out of China. An increasing number of young people are now considering jobs in food delivery and courier services, and surprisingly, many are women. Therefore, having a job that pays salaries on time and offers weekends off is something to truly cherish. To those still searching for employment, don't lose heart. The key is continuous self-improvement. Keep striving and good luck. Critics argue that it relies on practices that distort free market principles, such as forced technology transfers, IP theft, and cyber espionage, thereby undermining the very fabric of international trade systems. These actions have not only soured the investment climate but have also propelled the United States and its allies to reconsider their economic entanglements with China. Now, in 2024, there are no jobs to be found, and the promised economic recovery seems elusive. Our current economic situation, as Mr. Ren Zhengfei mentioned, is akin to the onset of a cold winter, with a chill in the air. In the first half of 2023, 460,000 businesses closed down, and 3.1 million individual businesses were deregistered. According to statistics, D users dropped from 45 million to 10 million, with a 75% reduction in taxi users. Trip users decreased from 26 million to 6 million, and the tourist population also shrank by 75%. Currently, nearly 800 million people in China are in debt, and 23 million are unemployed. This is in addition to the over 10 million graduates entering the workforce each year. Many employers have now turned to job hunting. According to official data, over 3 million people have applied for the civil service exam in 2024, making the competition fierce. The wave of unemployment has arrived. The European Union, a bloc that has long navigated its complex relationship with China, has shown signs of strain too, particularly in light of the EU-China Comprehensive Agreement on Investment, CAI. While the CAI aimed to deepen economic ties, its ratification was frozen by the European Parliament, signaling growing skepticism within the EU about the benefits of economic entanglements with China. This skepticism isn't unfounded but is rooted in Beijing's increasing tendency to act in ways that clash with European values and interests, as well as its assertive stance on international matters. Surviving in 2024 is more crucial than anything else. Over the past 2 years, 460,000 companies nationwide have closed down or moved out, with 3.1 million individual businesses shutting their doors and 23 million people becoming unemployed. This doesn't even account for the yearly influx of nearly 10 million graduates struggling to find surviving companies. Companies are now cautious about expanding and are instead focusing on downsizing and laying off employees. Even prestigious institutions like schools are eliminating positions, and teachers find themselves in a precarious situation, resembling contract workers more than ever. Finding a stable job, considered an iron rice bowl, has become exceedingly difficult for the average person. Even ordinary job opportunities are scarce, as evident in the past 6 months when the user count on the job search platform BossGPN surpassed 1 billion, causing temporary system failures. Similarly, the United States has been recalibrating its economic strategy, moving towards a more circumspect engagement with China. Under the guise of national security and protecting economic sovereignty, the U.S. has ramped up its scrutiny of Chinese investments. It has actively sought to decouple in key technology sectors, while simultaneously incentivizing American manufacturing and strengthening trade ties with alternative partners. Without surprise, in 2024, 100 million people will be facing the Spring Festival, with a large number of companies undergoing massive layoffs. Many individuals may find themselves unemployed after the Chinese New Year. In today's society, securing a job with a monthly salary of 3,000 to 4,000 yuan has become increasingly elusive, forcing many young people to opt for a laid-back lifestyle. This generation is undergoing a crucial societal transition, and employment directions are undergoing a significant reshuffling. India, with its vast market, youthful demographics, and ongoing economic reforms, has emerged as a beneficiary of this shift. Unlike China, India's democratic governance structure and rule of law present a more predictable and stable investment climate. The country has already seen increased interest from Western technology and manufacturing firms looking to diversify their supply chains. The nations within the European Free Trade Association, EFTA, Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Switzerland, also stand to gain from this realignment. These countries offer robust legal frameworks, high levels of transparency, and open economic policies, making them attractive destinations for Western capital looking for safer harbors. In conclusion, the movement of Western capital away from China, driven by a confluence of geopolitical tensions, economic policies perceived as aggressive, and the allure of democratic, rule-based economies, is reshaping the global economic order. While this shift presents new opportunities for countries like India and members of the EFTA, it also poses significant challenges for China in sustaining its growth narrative. As this dynamism unfolds, it underscores the essential truth of international economics. Trust and governance are as critical as market size and labor costs. The questions then become, how will China respond to these evolving dynamics, and can it adapt to reclaim the confidence of Western capital?